we have a bold idea. Keep everything local and private. So like Tony Stark's Jarvis, have a centralized assistant that can access all your local data, for example, calendar, databases, notes, tasks, whatever. And this basically acts as a orchestration layer. So in the end, you have a local transcription model that you can just talk to in natural language. And you also have a tiny agentic local model on your device that analyzes your requests and then routes them to the right thing in the end. Obviously, for like big thinking tasks, this doesn't really work. Running a language model on your phone isn't really viable nowadays. It is not that powerful like the big cloud models you have. So you also need to connect to some more powerful machine on the other end. And this can be, for example, your desktop client. Okay, we spent 2 days actually building a prototype. This here is a complete Android app running and working. So we can go into the download menu here and select a model that we want to download. All these models are actually supported by Android and they can run on your phone locally. They are quite small, so not that powerful, but they are surprisingly good. I installed Gemma 4. Gemma 4 is a really powerful model. And if you're at it, we can also go into the server settings here. We can select a cloud provider. I don't want that. I want to use my own LM Studio server. This is already running on the side here. Just copy the URL. So here we have it. We can test the connection and it says, okay, connected. We have 5 models installed on my desktop computer and we can save the settings here. And now we can go up here and actually select a model. So you can see I have the Gemma 4 locally on my device and I have the 7 other models here on my desktop computer. Then you can go down a bit and actually see some options you can set for the model. So speculative decoding is on, and you can also change the dictation mode. So we'll actually say, okay, allow recording voice. And then you can choose from any of the languages you have installed on your phone. For me, I have actually installed English for the US. It will load the local model. And then let's also choose the local Gemma 4. And now I can just go in and say something or also just type something. But let's use the transcription model actually in the end. Hello, how's it going? You can stop the recording and insert other text here. And if you're actually happy in the end, you can press send. Obviously, models on the phone are a bit slower. They first have to load the entire model into the memory and prepare generation. But once this has happened once, it's actually quite fast in the end. So you can see it is actually reasonably fast. You can actually get something out of it. It's a philosophical question. Okay, that's cool. So it generates about 2 chunks per second, which is actually not bad. But it takes around 25 seconds to actually load the model. And like other models, it's also very, very lengthy in answering. So I'm thinking we just switch the model to NVIDIA Nemotron 9B. So this is quite a bigger model in the end, but this now runs on the server. And we can also see here in LM Studio, it's actually loading the model onto my graphics card. It's a 6 GB model, so also not gigantic. So we're gonna start a new request. Hello, how are you doing? And now you can see this is way faster. This is like 12 tokens per second. So it's answered like pretty much instantly. And of course, you could imagine even choosing more advanced models if you have the hardware to run these models. I could also choose Qwen 3.6 here or Gemma 4 26B, but let's stay with the small model. Now we can also go ahead and click on here. We have actually 3 skills loaded right now: calculator, inbox, to-do list. So for example, we can just ask it, what is 3 plus 5? And we can see it's processing the prompt here, generating some tokens quite quickly. And it's doing some thinking here. And after pondering a bit, it came up after a split second with a proposed action it's going to take. And it's going to use the calculator tool that I defined as a demo. Obviously, it doesn't really make sense. And it also describes a bit what it's going to do. It's calculate the sum of 3 and 5. Makes sense. And we can also look at the details. It just passes over the expression in the end. We're going to say approve and open. And then we can see, okay, 3 plus 5 is 8. And it shows also the history of like different stuff here. So that's a really, really simple application, of course. Maybe a more elaborate one could be, hey, I need to run groceries tomorrow. Put this onto my to-do list. We're just going to send. It's going to think about it again. What kind of tools does it have available? And then we actually have the proposed action to-do list. Add this to the user's to-do list. When you look actually at the details at the under the hood, it's actually proposing to take the action add. and tries to add the title "Run for Groceries Tomorrow." Obviously, you can extend this to also include a date, to include way more metadata in the end. But this is a very simple demo right now, so we can just click Approve and Open. And then we can see it talked to the HTML page. So this entire thing here is not part of the app. It's an HTML application that's white coded entirely 100%. It talked to this app through web channels and just added this to the to-do list. List all my to-dos. And then we can also use another action from this tool we have. And then it comes up with another action. List all the tasks in that user's to-do list. And it's actually trying to get the action list at the end. We can now say run in the background, and then it will actually get all the data from the tool. The tool in turn gets it from the internal data storage of the app. Then we can see in the thinking step here, the user asks what's to do, then the to-do list shows the task run groceries tomorrow. So it provides the LLM in the end, again, with the data, and you can define custom interfaces inside of your applets to talk to the LLM, talk to the user in the end, but also define the UIs and all that stuff to make apps actually usable in the end. But you can also see this is still a tech demo here. It currently just crashed. So this is nowhere near production and doesn't look pretty at all, but it actually works. Okay, we got a timeout. That's expected, but it kind of works. And the principle is, at least for me, is very interesting. But of course, I would like to hear your opinion as well. So if you have any ideas, comments, suggestions, please reach out. Either go over to our website, focccus.dev, write an email to focus@proton.me, or just reach out on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening and see you around.